Before the rivers, before the rain, before even the ocean from which the material universe took form, there was the great beneath, the underworld. And there, deep in the darkness, resided the serpent, Vasuki. The ocean of milk, a vast and shoreless deep, pale beneath the dark, and at its heart, Mount Mandara, the great churning mountain, axis of all things, waiting in the stillness. The gods looked upon the sea of milk and knew, from these waters, creation must be churned. They summoned Vasuki, bestowing on him the epoch-defining task. With Vasuki coiled around the mountain, they pulled. The gods, devas, held his tail. The asuras, demons, held his head. Vasuki endured immense pain, and from his agony, the world was born. Poison and fire gave birth to the eternal nectar of the universe. The suffering of the serpent and the asuras who held him cast the shadow of death right at the moment of life. And so it was that the great serpent entered the material world, not as guardian, not a saint, but as the raw, sheer power of the underworld, tamed for creation, a being from the primordial depths. This is the legend of the Naga. Mucalinda, the Naga king who held the poison of the earth, looked on, his power pulsing through the rain. The Buddha, just weeks after having attained enlightenment, sat along the great lake, still and silent in the face of a storm so large it was as if the heavens themselves were testing him once again. Relentless, pounding, the waters began to rise. The serpent, fresh from his slumber at the depths of the lake, rose his 7 heads far and high above the canopy. Fierce, awe-inspiring, brimming with the ferocity of the storm itself. As the universe held its breath, the great serpent king, holder of the poison of the world, made the most simple of gestures, a deep and reverent bow. Then Mucalinda coiled his mighty body around the Buddha and lifted him far above the rising waters. He bent his 7 heads over the Buddha to protect him from the rains, and there he waited for the rain to clear and the sun to break. After 7 days, Mucalinda carefully returned the Buddha to the side of the lake.
You sheltered me and asked for nothing. This is the lesson. even as the gods themselves reach, grasp. You gave, expecting nothing in return. In all the ages of creation, this simple act of indifference will not be forgotten.
From the netherworld to the lakes and rivers of men, the Naga traveled. And everywhere they went, their story echoed with the lives of the communities they touched. The awesome power required to churn the oceans, the indifference to suffering, their intimate connection to the watery depths. In a world where the indifferent power of nature determines whether a community thrives or perishes, the serpent gives meaning. A beast whose selflessness is feared and revered in equal measure, and whose presence inscribes meaning into the geography of the land itself. He is the bend in the river where the water turns dark, the cautionary tale to not fish where others have drowned. His kingdom, while always just out of sight to mortal eyes, is always close, just beneath the current, where the drowned are said to awake as servants in his halls. And in Thailand today, the Naga is everywhere. You won't have to look hard. A statue on the shores of a lake, a makeshift shrine on a rugged coastline, a temple on the side of a river. The Naga is a connector between worlds. The netherworld and the material and the heavens. When you walk up or down temple stairs, you are moving between those worlds. And if you look closely, you will notice it is always the Naga that takes you there. Each October, at the end of the rainy season, the people of Nong Khai on the great Mekong River gather along the dark water to watch the Bangfai Payanak, silent fireballs that rise from the deep, the serpent seemingly answering once a year to those who still believe he is down there in the watery depths. When controlled, the power of the Naga's waters sustain. They nurture. When uncontrolled, they lead to disaster. The flood that destroys a village, that consumes a city even. The Naga represents the darkness of reality, the inevitability of suffering, and ultimately of death. Not because they are evil, but because unlike any other being in the cosmos, they represent the force that must endlessly navigate it. Moving up and down the cosmos, the Naga act in constant service of the dhamma, of truth. They protect not only the joy of existence, but its brutality, its sadness. Because it is only when we embrace the fullness of existence, light and dark, that we can truly be liberated.